Alright, in this video series we are going to be building an AJAX demo that will query a live database, MySQL database, get a result set back, and then populate data on a web page without the user refreshing that web page. So an example of what we are going to build is going to look something like this. The content will be very similar to this. We're going to build a database that houses just the top 5,000 songs of all time. I don't know who rated those, but we just pulled that off of GitHub, which will show you how we get that and import it into the database. And then we are going to build this simple web search function where we can type in, and then in real time the server will be queried. The results are returned and then populated on the screen. So you can see we have a video running here. And I can change this, and it does not affect the video being played because the data is being queried asynchronously, meaning via JavaScript in the background. So that's what we're going to build. In this specific video, we're just going to build out the basic layout of what we're going to need to do this, meaning we are going to create a subdomain on IONOS, we're going to create a web space folder, we're going to set up FTP, and then we are going to just upload our basic template to the web server. And that'll probably wrap up this video. And then in following videos, we are actually going to build out the database. We're going to import the 5,000 songs that we're pulling from. We're going to build out the JavaScript function from scratch. We're going to use vanilla JavaScript. And then we're going to build out the PHP and MySQL to query this, get the result set, and echo it on the screen. So we are going to start assuming we have absolutely nothing in place, and then build it all from the ground up. So we have a working example of what you are looking at here, which is a AJAX query of a MySQL database. And you can see without page refresh, this video proves this video is playing live, and we are going to the database and back with every query. So the first thing we're going to do is hop over to our web host, ionos.com. We're going to get logged in, and then we are going to work on building just kind of the infrastructure, I guess you could say, to make all this happen. So we're going to bounce in here, and I do have a video of how to set up the IONOS account. If you were to look on YouTube, you could find that. So this does assume you have an IONOS account. Again, it's I think $12 a year for this hosting. So we are going to get logged in, and the first thing we are going to do is create a subdomain. So once we're logged in, we can go to Domains and SSL. We'll go to Subdomains. And here you'll see a list of our current domains, subdomains we have. We do have this demo prep. We're going to ignore that. I built that to prep for this video. So we are just going to create a new domain, a new subdomain, rather. And we are just going to call it AJAX. So ajax.10minutewebdev.com. If you were to bounce out to that web address, by the time this video is posted, you should see a working example of that. So you'll see this subdomain will be created. So we're going to let that take a minute or two to create, but we are going to go into hosting. Here we can view our web space explorer, where we will see the folders that our site, our various websites are pointed to. So within this web space explorer, we're going to create a new folder. We're just going to call it AJAX, and then we're going to put all of our site content into that folder. So we're just going to hit new folder. Make sure the root is selected here. New folder. We're going to call it AJAX. Looks like our folder is created. So now we have a subdomain being created. We have a folder. We need a way to get files to that folder. So we are going to create a FTP account. I believe it's in hosting. Yeah, SFTP. So we're going to create a new SFTP account for this specific site. And you'll see we got a handful of them already created. We're going to hit create new account. I am going to put in a password. We're going to give it a note, AJAX It's fine, SFTP. And now where do we want this FTP or SFTP account to land when the files get pushed? So we are going to choose an existing directory to have them dump straight into the AJAX folder. We're going to hit save. So here we have our password selected. We got a note. We don't get to pick our username and host or anything like that. They're going to give us that. So if we hit save, this will take a second or two. All right, so it took a couple seconds there. So now we have our information, so we can FTP into this site. We will need this, so I'm probably going to save off the host, the username, and whatnot, because we're going to need to reference it pretty shortly in our website files. So as this FTP account gets set up, I am going to bounce into Visual Studio Code. So here we have just a untitled workspace. We don't have anything in here set up yet for what we're doing now. These are old sites. So what we can do is we can right-click in the workspace, and we can choose Add Folder to Workspace. So this folder will be where all of our site files reside. Here are old sites. I am going to create a new folder. We are just going to call it AJAX. So we are going to choose that. Hit add. So now we have a place within Visual Studio Code where all these files can reside. So we are using a VS Code plugin to do FTP and SFTP. So the way that works is at the root of your site folder, you have this .vs code folder, and then you have sftp.json, which looks like this. So what I do with each site that I create, if it has a new FTP account, I typically will take this entire folder from my template here, and I'll just copy it and then paste it. So here we have our SFTP info for our newly created website. I'm going to collapse that, and if I were to go in this, we're going to see that the information here is just dummy data, so we're going to fill that in. The domain, I copied out the host. I'm going to paste that in. The username, that's also unique to this account. The remote path, it is going to go to the root of this user because the user is defined to be at the AJAX folder. And then the password I am going to type in here and then close this file. So now with our FTP info defined, we've got a subdomain, we've got a site folder. We have FTP set up on IONOS. One thing I want to check is the list of domains that we have. So I'm going to refresh this page, and we're going to see our subdomain ajax.10minutewebdev.com. It's set to use the web space, but it's not defaulting to a default folder yet. So we are going to click use our domain here so we can map that subdomain to our web space. So the way we're going to use it, there's a bunch of options. We're going to connect to web space because we just want it to point to a folder on our web space. So here it should populate a list of folders we've created. We did create the AJAX folder in a separate, I guess a couple minutes ago. Here we're going to hit save. And now this should map our subdomain to the web space. So with our subdomain mapped to the web space, we can go back to VS Code. And we don't really have anything here yet, but what we can do is we can do a new file. We're going to call it index.php. So if you go to ajax.10minutewebdev.com, this will be the default page. So we can, I'm just going to put test here and hit save. And then we're going to bounce out just to see that it works as advertised. All right, so the FTP is putting the file there. This test isn't really what we want. What we want to do is create a generic bootstrap page that we will then in subsequent videos add the PHP SQL queries, all of that fun stuff to it. But for now, we just want a basic starter page. So we're just going to go into the quick start. We are going to grab this HTML. You can see it does include the Bootstrap CSS and the Bootstrap JavaScript. And if you don't know anything about Bootstrap, we'll talk about it a bit. It's just an easy way to build page layouts, make things responsive, make everything a whole lot easier. So for the rest of this video, we are just going to post this page, and then we'll have an environment we can work in for the subsequent videos. So we're going to just give it a title, make sure it uploads properly, World's Best AJAX Demo. We'll leave Hello World there. So we're going to save this. Saving it does automatically push it. So now if we go to here, we should see, it's taking a second to load, but we do have our new title in the Hello World. So we are ready to add real content to this now that we have a working environment on the internet, which we put together in about 10 minutes. So check out the next video, and then we will get into more detailed things, specifically the HTML creation. So we're going to build the web page that ends up looking like this. So we're going to add a header, we're going to build the web form, and then we're going to build some table content that we're going to get our results set in. So check back for that, and we will take it from there.